The galaxy was vast, filled with countless civilizations that had risen and fallen over millennia. Among them, humanity stood out, not for its technology or wisdom, but for its unpredictability. To the Galactic Council, humans were like a storm. They couldn't quite predict, chaotic, noisy, and prone to disruption. For centuries, Earth's expansion into space had been met with skepticism by the older, more established species who governed interstellar affairs through the Council. Humans were seen as upstarts, emotional, impulsive, and dangerously ambitious. It wasn't always hatred, it was more of an undercurrent of disdain. Many alien races believed humanity lacked the discipline to contribute meaningfully to galactic harmony. Their rapid rise after first contact with extraterrestrial life had been impressive, yes, but also alarming. While other species took thousands of years to develop starships and energy shields, humans achieved similar feats in mere decades. This speed unnerved their neighbors. It made humanity seem reckless, even dangerous. The tensions came to a head during the Peace Summit on Erindor, a moon known for its shimmering oceans and towering crystalline forests. The summit was meant to address growing conflicts between rival factions within the galaxy. Dozens of species gathered in the grand amphitheater, carved into the heart of Erindor's largest mountain. Representatives from each race sat at curved tables arranged in concentric circles, forming a symbolic unity. At the center stood Ambassador Vexthal, leader of the Galactic Council, a tall, slender being with translucent skin that shifted colors depending on his mood. Today he glowed a deep indigo, signaling irritation. Humanity's delegation consisted of 5 members, led by Ambassador Clara Hayes, a sharp-witted politician known for her fiery speeches. She wore a sleek silver suit adorned with Earth's emblem, a golden globe encircled by orbiting rings. Despite her confidence, she felt the weight of the room pressing down on her. Every eye seemed to judge. Every whisper carried undertones of mockery. When it came time for humanity to present their case about recent border disputes involving human colonies, Clara stepped forward. Her voice echoed clearly across the chamber. "We seek not domination," she began, "but coexistence. Humanity has worked tirelessly to adapt to your laws, your customs, yet we are constantly treated as outsiders, dismissed without consideration." Ambassador Vexthal listened impassively before cutting her off mid-sentence. His tone was cold, dismissive. "Your kind thrives on chaos, Ambassador Hayes. You lack the patience required for true diplomacy. Your presence here is indulgent." A ripple of murmurs spread among the assembled delegates. Some nodded in agreement. Others exchanged uneasy glances. Clara's jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she turned to face the entire assembly. "If this is how you wish to proceed," she said firmly, "then so be it. Humanity withdraws from these talks until our voices can be heard with respect." With that, she gestured to her team, and together they walked out of the amphitheater, leaving stunned silence behind them. As the doors closed, the room erupted into debate. Some called humanity foolish, while others wondered if their departure might destabilize the fragile peace. But what no one expected was the strange signal that arrived just hours later. Across the galaxy, communication systems lit up with a single broadcast originating from Earth's solar system. "We will speak only when ready." No one knew how the message bypassed the Council's secure channels. No one understood why. It carried such authority, such finality. Even Ambassador Vexthal, usually unshakable, stared at the transmission logs with unease. Something about the phrase sent chills through those who read it. Was it a threat, a promise, or something else entirely? On Earth, meanwhile, life went on as usual. Most people remained unaware of the events unfolding light years away. They went about their days, working, laughing, dreaming, oblivious to the fact that their planet had just become the center of galactic attention. Unbeknownst to anyone outside a small circle of scientists, the source of the mysterious signal lay buried beneath Antarctica, hidden in ice that hadn't seen sunlight in millions of years. Dr. Elena Marquez, a linguist and archaeologist, stood inside a dimly lit research facility near the excavation site. Before her lay fragments of an ancient artifact etched with symbols unlike anything ever recorded. Her fingers traced the markings carefully. "This isn't just some relic," she murmured to herself. "It's a message, and whoever left it knew exactly what they were doing." What Elena didn't realize yet was that the artifact and the signal it somehow triggered would soon force humanity to confront questions far greater than any diplomatic spat. Questions about their place in the universe, their potential, and the legacy they wished to leave behind. For now, though, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what Earth would do next. Deep beneath the frozen expanse of Antarctica, Dr. Elena Marquez and her team worked tirelessly in the dim glow of portable lights. The artifact they had uncovered was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Its surface shimmered faintly, as if alive, and the etched symbols shifted subtly when touched, rearranging themselves into new patterns. It wasn't just an object. It felt like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Elena leaned closer, her breath fogging up the protective visor of her helmet. She traced one of the symbols with her gloved finger, causing it to pulse softly with light. "This isn't random," she muttered aloud, more to herself than anyone else. "It's responding to interaction. Whoever made this wanted us to engage with it." Her assistant, Raj Patel, adjusted his glasses nervously. "You think it's some kind of alien communication device? If so, why here? Why Earth?" "I don't know," Elena admitted. "But I do know one thing: we didn't put it here. And whoever did, they knew we'd find it eventually." The significance of their discovery was staggering. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. But this artifact suggested something far more profound. Someone or something had been watching them for a very long time. As Elena continued studying the markings, her mind raced with possibilities. Could this be connected to the mysterious signal that had broadcast across the galaxy? Was it a message meant for humanity, or a warning? Meanwhile, on Erendor, news of humanity's withdrawal from the peace talks spread like wildfire. Alien diplomats debated endlessly about what the sudden departure meant. Some dismissed it as typical human arrogance. Others saw it as a calculated move, designed to provoke fear. But none could ignore the strange signal that followed. It hung over the summit like a shadow, unexplained and unsettling. Ambassador Vex Thal called an emergency session to address the situation. Seated at the center of the amphitheater once again, he addressed the gathered delegates. His translucent skin now glowed a pale green, a sign of anxiety among his species. "The humans have acted rashly," he declared. "Their signal is reckless, irresponsible. We must respond decisively." A representative from the aquatic Zerin species raised a tentacle-like limb. "Perhaps we should consider their actions carefully," the creature said in its melodic voice. "They are unpredictable, yes, but also resourceful. Their withdrawal may not be as simple as defiance." Vexthal's expression hardened. "Resourceful, unpredictable? Those traits make them dangerous. They cannot be allowed to disrupt galactic stability." As the debate raged on, a young diplomat named Kalin, a member of the insectoid Trelkith species, watched silently from the back of the chamber. Unlike many of his peers, Kalin had always been fascinated by humanity. He admired their resilience, their ability to adapt and thrive despite overwhelming odds. To him, their abrupt departure felt less like arrogance and more like strategy. Something about the timing of the signal troubled him deeply. Back on Earth, Elena's team made a breakthrough. After hours of experimentation, they discovered that the artifact emitted different pulses depending on how it was interacted with. By combining specific sequences of touches, they managed to activate a holographic projection. The image that appeared above the artifact startled everyone in the room. It depicted a map of the galaxy, but not as humans knew it. Star systems blinked in unfamiliar constellations, and entire regions were marked with glowing symbols. At the center of the map floated a single point, labeled with a word, written in a language none of them recognized. Eleanor stared at it, her heart pounding. This might be coordinates," she whispered. "Somewhere important." Raj frowned. "Important to whom? Us? Or whoever left this behind?" Before Elena could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. A security officer burst into the lab, his face pale. "Dr. Marquez, we've got incoming transmissions from multiple sources. Alien ships approaching Earth's orbit." Panic surged through the room. For decades, humanity had avoided direct conflict with extraterrestrial powers. Now it seemed their isolation was ending abruptly. Eleanor grabbed her tablet and rushed outside, where military personnel were already scrambling to prepare defenses. In the sky above, dozens of alien vessels descended, their shapes sleek and otherworldly. But instead of attacking, the ships hovered silently, projecting a unified message onto the clouds. "Prove your worth." The cryptic demand sent shockwaves around the globe. Governments convened emergency meetings, scientists scrambled to decipher the message, and ordinary citizens watched in awe as history unfolded before their eyes. For the first time in centuries, humanity faced a challenge that transcended borders and ideologies. Whatever these aliens wanted, they weren't going to give answers easily. Elena, however, suspected the artifact held the key. Returning to the lab, she studied the map again, her mind racing. If the coordinates pointed to a location, then perhaps solving the artifact's mystery would unlock humanity's next step. But doing so required taking a risk, one that could either unite the world or plunge it into chaos. She turned to Raj. "We need to share this," she said firmly, "not just with our government, but with everyone. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about proving that we're capable of rising to the occasion." As Elena prepared to reveal the artifact's secrets to the world, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was being tested, not by enemies, but by observers who wanted to see what they were truly made of. Whether they passed or failed depended entirely on how they responded. And somewhere deep within the Galactic Council chambers, Kalin watched footage of Earth's reaction with growing interest. Perhaps, he thought, humanity wasn't as reckless as everyone believed. Perhaps they were exactly what the galaxy needed. The alien message, "Prove your worth," hung heavy in the air, not just over Earth, but across the galaxy. Humanity found itself thrust into a spotlight it hadn't asked for, yet couldn't ignore. The challenge was clear: prove that they deserved a place among the stars, or face whatever consequences awaited those who failed. On Earth, governments and scientists worked around the clock to decode the artifact's map and understand its purpose. Dr. Elena Marquez became the linchpin of this effort, her expertise making her an unexpected leader in humanity's response. She stood before a global audience during an emergency United Nations broadcast, explaining what little they knew about the artifact and the mysterious coordinates. Her voice carried calm determination as she urged unity. "This isn't about nations," she said firmly, gazing into the camera. "This is about us, all of us. We're being tested, not just by aliens, but by something far greater. If we want to survive, we need to work together." Her words resonated deeply. For decades, humanity had been divided by borders, politics, and ideologies. But now, faced with an existential challenge, old rivalries began to fade. Countries pooled resources, shared technology, and collaborated like never before. Factories once used for weapons production shifted to building spacecraft. Researchers from competing labs teamed up to analyze the artifact. It was messy, chaotic even, but there was a spark of hope, a sense that maybe humanity could rise above itself when it mattered most. Meanwhile, aboard one of the alien ships hovering near Earth's orbit, Kalin watched the unfolding events with fascination. He had secretly accessed surveillance feeds showing human activity on the planet below. What he saw astonished him. Despite their differences, humans were mobilizing with incredible speed and creativity. Streets filled with volunteers assembling makeshift equipment. Artists painted murals calling for unity. Even children contributed, drawing designs for potential starships in school competitions. Kalin turned to his superior officer, Commander Zirvok, a stern Trelkith warrior known for his disdain of humanity. "They're adapting," Kalin said cautiously. "Look at how quickly they've organized themselves. They're resourceful, resilient." Zirvok clicked his mandibles dismissively. "Adaptation does not equal competence," Their actions are reckless, impulsive. This unity you speak of will crumble under pressure. Kalen didn't argue, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Zervok, and perhaps the entire Galactic Council, underestimated humanity. Something about their chaotic energy reminded him of the ancient Trelkith legends, stories of beings who thrived not through order, but through passion and ingenuity. Back on Earth, Elena's team made another breakthrough. By combining data from the artifact with astronomical observations, they identified the coordinates as pointing to a remote region of space near the galactic rim. It was uncharted territory, far beyond any human exploration so far. But getting there posed a problem. Current human spacecraft lacked the range and durability required for such a journey. Building new ships would take months, if not years, and time was a luxury they didn't have. That's when a young engineer named Mei Lin proposed a radical idea. "What if we don't build new ships?" she suggested during a brainstorming session. "What if we adapt existing ones?" Mei explained her plan, retrofitting decommissioned satellites and outdated space stations into modular components that could be assembled into a single, functional vessel. It was risky, unconventional, and would require unprecedented levels of cooperation between nations. But if it worked, they could launch within weeks instead of years. Elena hesitated at first. The proposal sounded too ambitious, too fragile. Yet as she looked around the room at the determined faces of her team, she realized they had no choice. "Let's do it," she said finally. "We'll make it work, or die trying." The project came to be called Unity 1. Teams worked tirelessly, often sleeping in shifts to meet impossible deadlines. Engineers from rival corporations collaborated side by side. Astronauts trained alongside civilians who volunteered for the mission, despite having no prior experience in space travel. Every step forward was fraught with challenges, but every setback only fueled their resolve. As construction progressed, the alien ships maintained their silent vigil, occasionally broadcasting reminders, "Prove your worth." Some interpreted these messages as taunts, while others saw them as encouragement. Either way, they served as a constant reminder of the stakes. One evening, as Elena walked through the bustling command center, she overheard two technicians arguing over a technical issue. Instead of escalating into anger, the debate turned collaborative, with both sides pooling their knowledge to find a solution. Watching them, Elena felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best. Not perfect, not always harmonious, but willing to try, to fail, and to keep going. Far away, on Erindor, Ambassador Vexithal convened another meeting of the Galactic Council. Reports of humanity's efforts had reached them, sparking heated debates. Some members dismissed the activity as futile posturing, while others expressed unease at the speed and scale of human innovation. "They're improvising solutions faster than we anticipated," admitted a representative from the aquatic Zerin species. "Their adaptability is concerning." Vexthal's skin glowed a deep red, a sign of irritation. "Concerning? They are still primitives playing at being civilized. Let them exhaust themselves. When they fail, we will step in and restore order." But Kalen wasn't convinced. Later that night, he accessed classified files detailing humanity's progress. Images of Unity 1 taking shape in orbit caught his attention. There was something inspiring about the patchwork design, the sheer audacity of cobbling together scraps to reach the stars. As he stared at the screen, he whispered softly to himself, Maybe they're exactly what we need." The launch of Unity 1 marked a pivotal moment for humanity. It wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a symbol of hope, determination, and unity. A patchwork vessel stitched together from the collective ingenuity of nations, corporations, and ordinary people. As the countdown began at a sprawling spaceport in Kazakhstan, millions around, the globe watched live broadcasts, holding their breath. Families gathered in living rooms, students crowded into classrooms, and workers paused on factory floors. For the first time in history, humanity felt like one entity, united by a shared purpose. Dr. Elena Marquez stood at the heart of the control center, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped the railing. She had spent countless sleepless nights overseeing every detail of the mission, ensuring that even the smallest components worked seamlessly. Beside her, Mei Lin monitored rows of blinking screens, her sharp eyes scanning for anomalies. Despite the tension in the air, there was an undercurrent of excitement, a sense that they were about to make history. T-10 seconds, announced the calm voice of the mission director over the intercom. The room fell silent except for the rhythmic beeping of timers. Elena glanced up at the massive monitors showing Unity 1 perched atop its booster rockets, gleaming under floodlights against the night sky. The ship looked fragile compared to the sleek vessels of advanced alien civilizations, but it carried something no other craft could, the raw spirit of humanity. 5, 4, 3. The countdown echoed through the facility as the engines roared to life, shaking the ground beneath them. Elena whispered softly, almost to herself, "This is it." And then, with a deafening roar, Unity 1 ascended into the heavens, trailing fire and smoke. Cheers erupted across the globe as the ship pierced the atmosphere, leaving Earth behind. Humanity's journey into the unknown had begun. Aboard Unity 1, the crew of 12 astronauts and civilian volunteers faced their first real test. The hastily assembled team included engineers, scientists, pilots, and even a schoolteacher who had volunteered after losing her home to conflict years earlier. Their diversity reflected humanity itself, flawed yet determined. For days they traveled smoothly, their course set for the mysterious coordinates revealed by the artifact. But on the 5th day, disaster struck. A malfunction in one of the retrofitted modules caused a critical power failure, plunging the ship into darkness. Alarms blared as systems shut down, leaving the crew adrift in the void of space. Panic threatened to take hold, but Captain Liam Harper, a seasoned astronaut known for his steady leadership, quickly took charge. "Stay calm," he shouted over the noise. "We've trained for this, let's fix it." Working together, the crew managed to restore partial power using backup generators salvaged from old satellites. It was messy, improvised, and far from perfect, but it worked. As lights flickered back on and life support stabilized, the crew shared relieved laughter. They weren't just surviving, they were thriving despite the odds. Back on Earth, news of the crisis spread rapidly. People held vigils outside space agencies, praying for the crew's safe return. When word came that Unity 1 had overcome the setback, celebrations erupted worldwide. Social media flooded with messages of gratitude, not just for the crew, but for humanity's resilience in the face of adversity. On Erindor, Ambassador Vexthal watched footage of the repairs with growing unease. He had expected humanity to falter, to crumble under pressure. Instead, they had adapted, innovating solutions in real time. The council chamber buzzed with murmurs as delegates debated what this meant. "They're still amateurs," Vexthal insisted, though his voice lacked conviction. "Their success is accidental," but Kalin disagreed. Standing before the assembly, he spoke boldly, his insectoid frame casting long shadows in the dim light. "Accidental or not, their actions speak volumes. They don't rely on perfection. They rely on perseverance. They turn failures into opportunities. Isn't that what makes a species strong?" His words stirred unease among the council members. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others exchanged wary glances. Even Vexthal seemed momentarily shaken. Meanwhile, aboard Unity 1, the crew received another message from the alien ships shadowing them. This time it was different. "You repair. You endure." "Why?" Captain Harper hesitated before responding. He knew this was more than a technical question. It was a philosophical one. After consulting with the crew, he typed out a simple reply, "Because we believe in tomorrow." The message sent ripples through the galactic community. Alien diplomats who had once dismissed humanity now found themselves intrigued by their philosophy. What did it mean to believe in tomorrow? Was it naivety or profound wisdom? Kalin pondered this as he studied recordings of human activity. He saw how strangers helped each other during crises, how artists created beauty amidst chaos, how scientists pursued knowledge for its own sake. Slowly, he began to understand why humanity inspired such conflicting emotions. They were unpredictable, yes, but also deeply hopeful. Hopeful enough to keep trying, even when failure seemed inevitable. Days later, Unity 1 reached the destination marked by the artifact's map. What they found there would change everything, not just for humanity, but for the galaxy. But, as the crew prepared to explore the mysterious region, Elena gazed out at the endless stars and felt a surge of pride. Whatever lay ahead, humanity had already proven something invaluable. They weren't defined by their flaws. They were defined by their ability to rise above them. And somewhere, deep within the Galactic Council chambers, Kaelin silently vowed to ensure that humanity's story didn't end here. Not when it had only just begun. The destination revealed itself as Unity 1, approached the coordinates, an ancient colossal structure floating silently in the void of space. It was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, a massive, ring-shaped construct, its surface etched with intricate patterns that pulsed faintly with light. The artifact from Antarctica seemed to hum in response, as if recognizing its origin. This wasn't just a relic. It was a gateway. Captain Harper ordered the ship into a cautious orbit around the structure, while the crew studied it closely. "Whatever this is," he said over the comms, his voice steady but tinged with awe, "it's not natural." Elena Marquez stood at the observation deck, her eyes wide as she gazed at the monolithic ring. She felt an overwhelming mix of wonder and trepidation. "It's like a keyhole," she murmured, clutching the tablet displaying the artifact's map. "And we've brought the key." The crew worked tirelessly to analyze the structure, scanning for weaknesses, entry points, or hidden dangers. But every attempt to interact with the ring triggered strange phenomena. Ripples of energy spreading across its surface, low-frequency vibrations resonating through the ship, and even brief flashes of alien symbols that flickered in and out of existence. Each discovery raised more questions than answers. As they debated their next move, tension mounted aboard Unity 1. Supplies were dwindling, and fatigue was setting in after weeks of non-stop effort. Some crew members began questioning whether they should proceed. "What if this isn't meant for us?" asked one engineer during a heated meeting. "What if we're walking into a trap?" But Elena refused to back down. "We didn't come this far to turn back now," she said firmly. "This isn't just about survival. It's about proving what we're capable of. If we walk away, we'll never know why we were chosen." Her resolve inspired the others, and slowly they rallied behind her. Together, they devised a plan to activate the ring using the artifact. Mei Lin led the technical efforts, rigging a device to transmit signals from the artifact directly to the structure. As they prepared for the activation sequence, the alien ship shadowing them sent another message. "You approach the threshold. Choose wisely." On Earth, anticipation reached fever pitch. Billions watched live broadcasts of Unity 1's progress, their hopes pinned on the brave crew venturing into the unknown. Governments held emergency sessions, religious leaders delivered sermons, and children wrote letters addressed simply to the stars. Humanity had always dreamed of reaching beyond its limits, and now those dreams seemed within grasp. Yet, not everyone shared the optimism. Skeptics warned of potential disaster, fearing that activating the ring could unleash forces humanity couldn't control. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire, fueling paranoia. Despite the dissent, however, there was an undeniable sense of unity, a collective belief that no matter what happened, humanity would face it together. Meanwhile, on Erendor, the Galactic Council convened in urgent session. News of the mysterious ring had reached them, sparking panic among some delegates. Ambassador Vexthal paced the chamber, his translucent skin glowing an agitated crimson. "This was reckless," he snapped. "Humans meddling with forces they cannot comprehend. They will destabilize the galaxy." Kaelin stepped forward, his antennae twitching with frustration. "Reckless or courageous, they've shown remarkable restraint thus far. Perhaps we should trust them to handle this responsibly." Vexthal turned sharply toward him. "Trust them? After everything, you've grown too sympathetic to their cause, Kaelin. I am being realistic, Kaelin countered. They have proven themselves adaptable, creative, and resilient. If anyone can navigate whatever lies ahead, it's them. The debate raged on, dividing the council. Some argued for intervention, proposing to send warships to intercept Unity 1. Others advocated patience, urging the council to observe before acting. In the end, no consensus was reached, but Kaelin quietly resolved to monitor the situation himself, convinced that humanity's actions would shape the future of the galaxy. Back aboard Unity 1, the moment of truth arrived. With Elena guiding the process, the crew initiated the activation sequence. The artifact glowed brighter than ever, emitting a soft hum that filled the ship. Energy surged between the artifact and the ring, creating a blinding flash of light. For a few terrifying seconds, the crew shielded their eyes, unsure if they had triggered catastrophe or transcendence. When the light faded, the ring had transformed. Its surface shimmered with vibrant colors, forming a swirling vortex at its center. It was a portal, a doorway to somewhere unimaginable. "This is it," Captain Harper said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Whoever goes through first will be stepping into the unknown." Eleanor volunteered immediately. "I started this journey," she said, gripping the artifact tightly. "I'll finish it." Though reluctant to let her go alone, the crew agreed that someone needed to lead the way. Armed with recording equipment and protective gear, Elena entered the airlock, her heart pounding. As the outer door opened, revealing the pulsating vortex, she hesitated only briefly before stepping forward. The sensation was indescribable, a rush of warmth, sound, and light enveloping her as she crossed the threshold. When she emerged on the other side, she found herself standing in a vast ethereal chamber, filled with towering crystalline structures that emitted soft, melodic tones. At the center stood a figure cloaked in shimmering light, a being whose presence radiated both power and wisdom. "You have come far," the being intoned, its voice resonating like a chorus. "Why do you seek us?" Elena swallowed hard, her mind racing. Then she spoke, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "We came because we believe in tomorrow, because we want to prove that we are worthy, not perfect, but willing to try. We may be flawed, but we are also hopeful. That's who we are." The being regarded her silently, then extended a hand. "Hope," it said, "is rare in the cosmos. Let us see where yours leads." As Elena took the being's hand, she felt a surge of connection, not just to the alien intelligence, but to something greater. Somewhere deep within the Galactic Council chambers, Kaelin watched footage of the encounter with growing admiration. Humanity had faced the unknown and embraced it, but the true test was yet to come. Elena stood in awe as the crystalline chamber around her pulsed with radiant light, each tone resonating like a heartbeat. The being before her, tall, luminous, and exuding an aura of ancient wisdom, seemed to embody the essence of the cosmos itself. Its presence was neither threatening nor comforting, for it simply was as vast and unyielding, yet somehow patient. "You seek understanding," the being said, its voice layered with harmonies that echoed through Elena's mind. "But understanding requires truth. Will you accept what lies ahead?" Elena hesitated only for a moment. She thought of Earth, the billions who had placed their faith in this mission, and nodded firmly. "Yes, whatever it takes." The being extended its shimmering hand further, inviting her to step closer. As she did, images flooded her consciousness, not just visions, but entire narratives spanning eons. She saw civilizations rising and falling, wars fought over resources and ideologies, alliances forged and broken. Most strikingly, she witnessed humanity's journey from primitive tribes huddled around fires to explorers venturing into the stars. It wasn't sanitized or romanticized. It was raw, messy, and full of mistakes. Yet woven through every triumph and failure was something profound: hope. "Your kind is unique," the being intoned. "You do not merely survive, you dream. You imagine possibilities beyond your reach and strive to grasp them, even when success seems impossible. That is why we have watched you." Elena's breath caught. "Watched us? For how long?" Longer than your species has walked upright, came the reply. We are the Keepers, a collective of beings tasked with safeguarding balance in the galaxy. When younger species show potential, we observe. When they prove themselves, we guide. Realization dawned on Elena, the artifact buried beneath. Antarctica, the cryptic messages, the alien ships shadowing Earth. All of it had been orchestrated by these Keepers. Humanity hadn't stumbled upon greatness by chance. They had been tested, prodded, pushed to reveal their true nature. But why now? Eleanor asked, her voice trembling. Why test us at this moment? Because the galaxy stands at a crossroads, the Keeper explained. Old powers falter, new ones rise, and chaos threatens to consume all. We sought a species capable of adapting, not through perfection, but through resilience. Through unity, born not of order, but of shared struggle. Eleanor felt tears welling up in her eyes. Despite everything, despite humanity's flaws, divisions, and reckless tendencies, they had passed the test. They weren't chosen because they were perfect. They were chosen because they believed in tomorrow. Back aboard Unity 1, the crew waited anxiously for any sign of Elena. Minutes stretched into hours, and tension mounted. Captain Harper paced the bridge, his hands clenched tightly behind his back. Maylin monitored sensors obsessively, searching for any trace of activity near the ring. Then, suddenly, the vortex flared with light once more. Elena stepped through, cradling the artifact in her arms. Her expression was unreadable, part awe, part sorrow, part determination. The crew rushed to her side, bombarding her with questions. "What happened?" Harper demanded. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she assured them, though her voice carried a weight none of them fully understood. "They're called the Keepers. They've been watching us for centuries, maybe longer, and—" She paused, glancing at the artifact. "They believe in us." Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered violently as energy surged outward from the ring. A holographic projection materialized in the air above them, showing a map of the galaxy unlike anything they'd seen before. Star systems blinked, with symbols representing different species and factions, while lines of connection formed intricate webs between them. At the center of it all lay Earth, glowing faintly but steadily. "They've given us this," Eleanor explained. "A blueprint for galactic cooperation. Not domination, not assimilation, but collaboration. They want us to help unite the galaxy." The implications were staggering. Humanity, a relatively young and inexperienced species, was being entrusted with a monumental responsibility. The crew stared at the map in stunned silence, realizing the magnitude of what had been placed in their hands. Erindor, the Galactic Council, erupted into chaos as reports of the event reached them. Footage captured by the alien ships showed the glowing map projected above Unity 1. Some delegates accused humanity of manipulating the Keepers, while others expressed outright fear. Vexithal slammed his fist against the table, his skin glowing an angry red. "This cannot stand. They will destabilize everything." But Kalen rose to his feet, his antennae quivering with resolve. "Enough," he declared, his voice cutting through the noise. "For too long, we have judged humanity by our standards. We underestimated their ingenuity, their empathy, their ability to adapt. Look at what they've accomplished, not through force but through hope." He turned to face the assembly, his gaze unwavering. "Perhaps it is time we learned from them. Perhaps it is time we trusted them." His words hung in the air, challenging the council to reconsider their biases. Though many remained skeptical, some began nodding in agreement. Even Vexthal fell silent, his anger giving way to reluctant contemplation. Unity 1. Prepared to return home, Eleanor addressed the crew one final time. "This isn't the end," she said softly. "It's just the beginning. What we do next matters more than anything we've done so far." Her words echoed across the galaxy, carried by broadcasts beamed back to Earth. Humanity listened, inspired by the courage and determination of those aboard the ship. For the first time, they truly understood the weight of their role in the universe. Not as conquerors, but as builders of bridges. And somewhere among the stars, the Keepers watched silently, their decision vindicated. Hope, it seemed, still had a place in the cosmos. The return of Unity-1 to Earth was met with a celebration unlike any the planet had ever seen. Cities lit up in dazzling displays of light, streets filled with cheering crowds, and nations set aside their differences to honor the crew who had ventured into the unknown and returned with a gift for all humanity. The glowing map projected by the Keepers became a symbol of unity, a reminder that no species, no matter how small or flawed, was alone in the vastness of the cosmos. Dr. Elena Marquez stood on a stage before thousands at the United Nations headquarters, her voice steady, but tinged with emotion as she addressed the world. "We didn't go out there seeking power or glory," she said, holding the artifact aloft. "We went because we wanted to prove something, not just to others, but to ourselves. We are imperfect, yes, but we are also capable of greatness when we choose to work together." Her words resonated deeply. Across the globe, people embraced the idea of collaboration, not just among humans, but with other species across the galaxy. Leaders from rival nations signed historic agreements, pledging cooperation in space exploration and resource sharing. Artists painted murals depicting humanity reaching toward the stars, while poets penned verses about hope and resilience. For the first time in centuries, Earth felt like one world instead of many divided ones. In orbit, the alien ships that had shadowed Unity-1 throughout its journey remained, their presence now less ominous and more curious. When the Galactic Council convened once again, Kalin stepped forward to deliver a proposal he had been preparing since witnessing humanity's actions firsthand. "It is clear," he began, addressing the assembly, "that humanity has earned its place among us. Let us extend an invitation, not as observers, but as partners. Together we can build a future where diversity strengthens us rather than divides us." The chamber erupted into debate, voices rising in protest and agreement alike. Vex Thal, though still wary, found himself outnumbered as more delegates sided with Kalin's vision. After hours of deliberation, the council reached a unanimous decision. Humanity would be welcomed as full members of the galactic community, tasked with leading efforts to foster cooperation based on the blueprint provided by the Keepers. When news of the Council's decision reached Earth, it sparked another wave of jubilation. Humanity wasn't just being accepted, they were being entrusted with shaping the destiny of the galaxy. It was a responsibility they vowed not to take lightly. Months later, construction began on what would become known as the Nexus, a massive interstellar hub designed to facilitate communication, trade, and diplomacy between species. Built using EGE, technology shared by both humans and their new allies, the Nexus represented a monumental leap forward in galactic relations. Its central chamber featured a holographic representation of the Keeper's map, updated in real time to reflect alliances formed and challenges overcome. Elena visited the Nexus during its inaugural ceremony, standing alongside representatives from dozens of alien races. As she gazed at the intricate web of connections displayed above them, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Humanity had proven itself, not through conquest, but through compassion and determination. One of the alien ambassadors approached her, extending a limb in a gesture of friendship. "Your kind has taught us much," the ambassador said in halting yet sincere tones. "You have shown us that even in chaos there is order, even in division there is unity." Eleanor smiled, shaking the ambassador's hand. "And you've reminded us that we're stronger together than apart." Years passed, and humanity continued to grow within the galactic community. Missions launched to explore distant star systems, bringing back knowledge and forging bonds with civilizations once thought unreachable. Schools taught children about the Keepers and the lessons they had imparted, that hope could bridge even the widest divides, and that resilience was the true measure of a species. On Earth, the Antarctic excavation site became a monument to human ingenuity and curiosity. Visitors from across the galaxy came to see the artifact that had sparked humanity's journey into the stars. Near the entrance, a plaque bore a simple inscription: "To believe in tomorrow is to shape eternity." As the sun set over the icy expanse, casting golden light across the landscape, Elena stood silently beside the artifact. She thought of everything they had achieved, the trials faced, the friendships forged, the lives changed forever. Humanity had started as wanderers, uncertain of their place in the universe. Now they were builders, creators, dreamers. Somewhere far beyond the stars, the keepers watched quietly, their shimmering forms blending seamlessly into the fabric of space. They had seen countless species rise and fall, but few had inspired such pride. Humanity, with all its flaws and hopes, had done what so many others could not. They had united a fractured galaxy under the banner of possibility. And as the galaxies spun onward through the endless night, one truth remained clear. Humanity had proven that even the smallest spark of hope could ignite a fire bright enough to light the way for all.